rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. I am alive and well, and I am back. December was crazy. Between the holidays and all the training, I wasn't able to get very much footage or any footage really during my training in December, which made it really difficult to make videos. I've got a lot to update you guys on, but before I get into that, I do want to talk about some pretty important stuff. You guys are probably already aware, but Australia is on fire. We're talking like dozens of people dead, thousands of homes lost, millions of animals, so much damage to the ecosystem and the environment. Yeah, Australia is not in a good way right now. And Trav Shadows, he's been a supporter of the channel from the start, and I consider him a friend now at this point. He's out in Australia, and he's been pretty personally affected by this as well, him and his family. So I want to try and do my part to help. A, by just reminding you guys that this is happening, and B, I want to make a commitment from this channel. I want to commit to donating $1 for every 200 views, for every 10 likes, and for every 5 shares. So any one of those will be like another dollar donation from the channel. Obviously, I am a very poor man. I literally have a GoFundMe for my training fees, so there is an upper limit to how much I can really do here. But I'm hoping that some of you guys will want to get involved as well, and also kind of either make the same pledge or a similar pledge. Even if none of you do, I'm still committing to do as much as I can. So share, spread the word, and let's try and do some good. So with that out of the way, yeah, let's talk wrestling. Wow, what a crazy month for me. I'm pretty sure I've worked at a couple of shows, not wrestling at the shows, but like doing security and setup at the ring. I think I've done a couple shows since the last video. That's more of the same old, just getting to see more of the ins and outs. But I will say that at the most recent show, I got to meet El Phantasmo, which was really cool. I have to just kind of remind myself that at this point, like, this is going to happen more and more often. I'm going to meet people that I've like seen in New Japan or seen in WWE or on TV or whatever. And I got to be cool about it, obviously. And I'm pretty sure I was. I just introduced myself, said hi. But the reality is, like, these people are living the life that I want. Like, they've accomplished what I'm trying to accomplish. So that's really cool to get to meet them and, pick their brains when I can. I think that I left you guys off last with just like super basic stuff. I think it was just basic rolls, really. Rolls and lockups, I think we did. And maybe like a headlock. Since then, we've touched a lot more on chain wrestling. Like, we spent probably 3 weeks, I think, just drilling chain wrestling over and over and over again. So now we've done headlocks, wrist locks, hammer locks, waist locks, reversals from all of that, and just really getting the muscle memory down there. There's obviously still a lot to work on there, especially with like footwork and kind of learning the flow of things and being able to be ready to transition into the next move, and just having it be really fluid without having like awkward and jerky, because then the illusion sort of breaks. Honestly, I was amazed at how much gas it took out of me. Like, I was winded after like chaining for a few minutes straight. Like, it takes a lot out of you. But yeah, it's really enjoyable doing chain. Like, I get to pretend like I'm Daniel Bryan, right? So that's no complaints there. From the chaining, we moved into some basic striking and offense, right? So we've done shoulder tackles, forearm strikes, back elbows, to the chest and to the back and to the shoulder trap area type thing. Like, we're really laying into each other. Like, people think that wrestling's like all fake, and like, yeah, there's some stuff that we pull and some stuff that we like make as safe as possible. I mean, and the striking we do as well. It's not to say we don't try to make it safe, but like, we're really laying in, and yeah, it hurts, but in a good way. With the striking getting involved, we're also gonna start bumping more. So I think the last time I left you guys off, we really hadn't revisited bumping at all. I did some bumps at my tryout, like the first bumps I ever took ever, and for like weeks after that, we didn't even touch on it. But we've recently gotten back into bumping, which is awesome. So there are 3 kind of primary bumps that we've been doing so far. Is your standard back bump, your face bump, which is like the flare flop, sort of just, and then your front bump, which is a flip bump. It's called a front bump, but it's a flip bump, and then the front bump is actually a face bump. It's a whole thing. So back bump, face bump, front bump. My back bumps are really inconsistent. There have been a few that I've done where I felt super snappy, super great, and just like really crisp and good about it. But the vast majority of my back bumps need a lot of work. Instead of having this like really snappy, solid landing, it's a little bit floaty. I just have it sort of ingrained in me from bouldering that if I'm gonna fall, I want to land on my feet and then like roll through the fall, onto my back, instead of just like letting myself drop flat onto my back. I don't know if it's from that or not. It might be, it might not be. All I know is that it needs work. Face bumps are awkward. Face bumps are honestly really, it's an awkward feeling. And it's not like a scary feeling at all, really. It's a really safe feeling bump. It's just that it's an awkward movement. So again, more reps and I'll get it. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world right now, but obviously something to work on. Front bumps though. Now, front bumps was, boy, was that an adventure. There was a lot for me to get over mentally. It's not about injury for me necessarily. Like, I'm not afraid of the injury. I'm not afraid of the pain. I've been injured before. I've gotten hurt before. That's not the issue. I think for me it was this mental idea of like, if I'm flipping over and I fuck this up and I land on my head or my neck and I get hurt, it's not that I'm hurt, it's that I have to stop training. I don't want to stop training. I'm not it's too early for me to stop training. I haven't worked a match yet. So it was this thing where it was the self-preservation aspect of like, I don't want to do the flip because I don't want to stop training. So I was doing these really weird, like angled sort of like I turned it into like a shoulder roll almost of a flip. Like I would like protect, this way a little bit, and they were really, really, really bad. And I felt terrible about it because this was the first thing in all of the training that I didn't sort of immediately click with. Not necessarily excel at, but like the first thing that I didn't feel immediately semi-comfortable with. So I was really beating myself up about it. I felt really bad, but you know what? At the end of that class, I made the decision and had the resolve to like, I'm going to fix this. A couple days later, I went to the trampoline park, paid for the drop-in, and I literally spent an hour and a half just flipping over and over and over till I got it down. First, I started with the foam pits so that I could just practice the rotation and not have to worry about over-rotating or under-rotating. And once I got more comfortable with the foam pit, I shifted over to just like a long trampoline. First, I started with quite a bit of height to give myself more time and more room, but then I just got lower and lower until eventually I was just doing the flip from like a standing position. I wasn't even using the bounce of the trampoline. And once I could do that and get that flat landing and get the straight rotation, I knew I had it. Like if I can do it there, off like a flat thing, then I can work off of at least a little bit of bounce that the ring gives. So the next class that we went into, we got to the front bumps. I had a little moment of hesitation because thinking, oh man, did this stick as well as I thought it did? And yeah, it worked. Like I'm over it. I can do front bumps now, which is awesome and amazing. And it just goes to show that like, if there's something that's in your way, you can find a way to work through it. You don't necessarily have to fix it by just drilling it over and over in that same setting. Like, I could have just stayed in the ring and just flipped over and over, but I don't think that was nearly as helpful to me as to get into another setting. Now, transitioning from the front bumps, we started doing some moves that involved taking a front bump. So we've done snapmares, we've done headlock takeovers, we've done arm drags, and I gotta tell you, like now that we're starting to learn more like moves, holy crap, it's just such a cool feeling to start to be able to put things together in your head a little bit, to think like, okay, now I know some chain, now I know I can bump, now I know a few different moves, some striking. Like slowly but surely we're getting the tools to be able to work, admittedly a very basic match, but the tools to work a match, which is incredible. It's so cool. So along those lines, now that we have the chain, now that we have the bumping and the striking, this is the point where we start having conversations in class about selling and about psychology, about why you would want to do certain moves at certain times, what direction you want to sell, the way you want to sell. We're learning a little bit more about that. And again, that all comes together to just start putting together a match. I will say one thing that I'm really taking to right now is the selling part and really just amping up the drama of a moment and yeah, making the other guy look good, but just like telling the story. I'm really enjoying that. And one thing that I'd really like to kind of work on is making my offense look a little bit better. These guys that I'm training with are like twice my size. So I think that it takes a little bit more for me to make my offense look believable. And I don't mean that as an excuse or anything. I just mean that there are a few more things I have to do. I can't just lay into the dude and have it work. I've got to like really sell that I'm like throwing a lot into it. I've got to like wear the other guy down first before I throw a strike. There are just more things that I kind of have to consider like a smaller dude, and that's part of the learning process. I'm really excited to do that. Now, more recently, with, again, all of this knowledge that we've kind of accrued, we've started doing some really, really basic spots. I think in the last class, we did something like a lock up into a headlock takeover. Then we work up from the headlock. Guy in the headlock would like fight into the ropes, and then be able to reverse out of the headlock, off the ropes, throw into an Irish whip, and then we turn that into a tackle. Things are really getting real now, and I can't stress enough how glad I am to be doing this, how lucky I am to be in this position, and how much I just want this. Like, I want this so bad. Now, I do think that this is probably a good spot for me to reflect a little bit now that I'm, oh wow. You know what? I'm not even 2 months into my training. That's crazy to think about. That's insane. Um, but I think it's a good time for me to sort of reflect and think about my strengths and my weaknesses, which I obviously need to shore up to become as well-rounded as possible. I think right now a strength of mine is I am taking quite a bit to the springboard off the rope, like lucha-y sort of, like I'm taking pretty well to that. I think that feels right. My balance has always been a big part of, like, from bouldering and climbing. My balance has always been a big thing. I really enjoy slab for climbing. All of that aerial type stuff, I'm enjoying it. Not that I know a bunch of it, but I'm like really enjoying it. Another strength that I think I have at this point is a willingness to go out and do the other things that I need to do to improve myself. Like I said, with the trampoline park or like tumbling classes, because this costs extra money. Like, I'm paying money out of my pocket to go do these things, but it's a part of enhancing my training as a wrestler, and I'm happy to do that. Which ties into, I think, another strength is I just want this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to throw everything into this, so I consider that a strength. Weaknesses. One that I'm still struggling with, and I know I've mentioned this in an earlier video, but is just slowing down. You know, there's this mentality that a lot of people, myself included, have where if you're doing it fast, that means you're doing it well, and that's obviously not necessarily always the case, especially in training. That's almost never the case in training. You want to slow it down and really. So I'm working on that. And another one is my offense. You know, for the week that I've been doing it, I do feel that there's some room to improve. I mean, quite a bit of room to improve there, but I need to make it look crisper and like snappier and just more believable. So I'm going to try and find ways to do that, and we'll see how that goes. And now that I've got you guys all caught up on the whole training thing, I do want to take a moment to plug ECCW, who I'm training with. Next weekend, January 17th and 18th, Friday, Saturday, we are doing Ballroom Brawl at the Commodore Ballroom. It's our biggest show of the year. It's 2 nights. It's massive. I think the venue fits like a couple of thousand people. Anyways, it's a big show. We're going to have El Phantasmo on the card. We're going to have Bandito on the card both nights. The cards are stacked. I'm so genuinely excited for these shows. So if you're in the Vancouver area and you do want to check them out, the tickets are still available. It's $47.75 per night, which is honestly a great price for the entertainment you're going to get. So next weekend, January 17th, 18th, Ballroom Brawl, Commodore Ballroom. Very much hoping to see you guys there. And I just want to remind you guys again, for every view, like, and share on this video, I will be making a donation to a wildfire relief fund. I haven't decided which one yet. I'm going to do my research and find out the best one, but that is going to happen. So, like, let's get the word out. Let's make some good happen. And I can't say enough how awesome it is to be back here, sitting, talking in this mic, looking at this camera. I miss this a lot, and I'm very much looking forward to doing more of this in the future. I'm going to try to get more footage in the future. I'm going to be a little bit more bold now about just asking to just get the footage, right? We're going to keep going, and it's going to be great. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again for sticking around, and I can't wait to see you guys again next week. Ballroom Brawl. See you there. Peace.